Hello and welcome back to the Indianapolis Podcast. My name is Chris Lanning, back with you today to talk about exercise programming, the health risk assessment. We're going to be diving into a couple different things here today. We've used this downtime to really revamp our exercise programming here at the Indianapolis Healthplex, and it really starts with our health risk assessment. And so, for those who maybe don't know what the health risk assessment is, it's free, complimentary to all of our members. And it's an hour long. We go into the first part, a lot of the goals that you might have, health goals. We get into a SICA scan that talks a little bit about body fat percentage and just different goals, strength goals and balance goals that you might have. And so it does a really good job of honing in on ways that we can improve overall health with an individual. And one of the biggest things that we've done is we've kind of revamped our programming behind it to make it more efficient, get the results a little bit quicker than what we were doing before. And so the biggest thing that we first kind of came up with was the medical questions, asking open-ended questions. If someone comes in and they're answering yes to everything, we want, or no to everything, we want to dive further into the questions and try to narrow down the real issue, the root issue of maybe why you haven't reached your goals in the past, or is there a specific goal that you have based on a date? Maybe it's a wedding coming up. Maybe it's a trip that you want to be able to walk a certain distance. Maybe you're an athlete and you want to get a little bit faster on the playing field. And so we always want to make sure that our exercise programming is geared towards goals. And the second part of that is asking about occupational questions. So these all relate to postural imbalances. So you guys have many times heard throughout the videos that myself and my colleagues are doing here on Facebook Live and Instagram and Zoom that everything that we do, posture plays a big factor into that. And so if you have a job where you're doing a lot of repetitive movements, maybe you're a truck driver, or maybe you're not even doing repetitive movements. Maybe you're in a seated position at your desk, or you're driving a lot throughout the day, or you are doing repetitive movements. Maybe you're in a factory and you're doing those repetitive movements, those twisting of the low back, those kinds of things. We want to ask, does this individual have a high labor demanding job? And then how might this affect shoulder or low back or lumbar mobility? So if we're doing exercises and we're not taking into consideration maybe their work that they do every day, or where they're already at as far as their eating style or their exercise programming, then we failed on our part to understand what to get out of their training program. So that's just something that we always talk about with people that come in. What's your job like? What are you currently doing every day? Or is there anything that we need to be cautious of as we start doing programming? And then the third part of this is developing these SMART goals. So making sure that we take the time to dive into these goals, focusing in on what's most important to the individual, and then basing their goals off of the measurements that we've also taken into account with the health risk assessment, the SICA scan, the functional movement screen, everything like that. So the health risk assessment, again, is great. You can call the Indianapolis Healthplex even during this downtime. We can write your name down and then get this health risk assessment done. Again, just is a free hour, one-on-one with a professional here that can really help you throughout your goals. And as one thing that we've learned throughout this period of downtime is that building up immune system health and making sure that we're eating correctly, exercising, and our immune system is built up, our cardiovascular health is built up, is super important during times like this. So definitely getting these scheduled when we do reopen, and being able to track your progress is something really important that we highly recommend for everyone, no matter where you're at. If you're an athlete, if you work out a lot throughout the day, still getting a health risk assessment. That way we can continue to push you to your goals at a faster rate than maybe doing them on your own. We have very specific design exercise programs here that we plug and chug based off what we see in that health risk assessment. And we'll dive into that a little bit more in a later podcast, but really important to do. And then if you're on the opposite end of the spectrum, like we've talked about before, you're older, you want to increase balance, increase strength, you want to do that in a safe manner, definitely reach out to us as well. And then anyone in between all that, reach out, take that next step, allow us to develop this safe program for you so that you're proactive with your health. So that wraps it up here for today. Again, thanks for joining me. Kind of a quick little thing there on the health risk assessment. Some things that we ask, taking into account the job that you're in, what you're currently doing, so that we can develop that safe program for you. So I want you to join us each Sunday at noon for another episode of the podcast. Stay connected with us for all of our workouts. We're doing a great job, I know, on all of our live Facebook and then Zoom that we're using here. And look out for all of our meal and nutrition ideas on all of our social media outlets, inspirational quotes, and more. Like, share, and follow us on Facebook at Indianapolis Healthplex, Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok now. Available with the Indianapolis Healthplex if you put that in. So definitely check us out on all of our social media stuff. We have a lot of cool content that we're putting out, and we'll see you back at the next podcast.